We hope that these video devotions are a blessing to you. It's something new that we're trying for this Advent season. And what I'd encourage you to do is if you find them encouraging or helpful, by all means, like them and share them and pass them along. There are even going to be links available to YouTube or Vimeo. So if you want to send it in a text message, you can send it to friends or family.
So we're here today in my dining room. And,
beautiful.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's kind of a small little dining room. But
and it's all set except there's no food, Zach.
That is the one thing that I forgot. And I'll be honest. To get the place settings right, I had to look it up on Google because here's the thing. I'm not a particularly refined host, but this is actually where just a couple of weeks ago we celebrated Thanksgiving. Now, this room is not grand. It's a fairly small dining room, but we use it always for Thanksgiving. And one of the traditions that we have at our house is Melody's grandmother had some china, and we break it out every Thanksgiving, and we put it right here on the table. Now, here's the thing.
Very festive.
Yeah, it is festive. Here's the thing, though. The room isn't very grand, and I'll give you a secret about the fine china. I'm not sure how fine it is. She actually bought it years ago from Montgomery Ward. And yet, every single year, with our maybe not so fine china in our not so grand dining room, we always have a great time during Thanksgiving. Because here's the thing, what makes Thanksgiving, it's not the china, it's not the room, it's not even really the food, it's the people you get to spend the time with.
Yeah, that's always the key, isn't it? The people, and that's one of the things that makes this season so hard. Well, today we're going to take a look at a story that Jesus tells from Luke chapter 14. It's a story about a king who is preparing a banquet. He wants to get together with all of his friends, with all of the people that he knows, and so he goes through all of the rigors of preparation, the cooking and the cleaning and the arranging and the setting up and the decorating and everything. Everything is perfect. Everything is all set when something absolutely devastating happens. His honored guests begin to make excuses. This is Luke chapter 14, verse 18. They all alike began to make excuses. The first said, "I've just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me." Another said, "I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me." Still another said, "I just got married, so I can't come." I mean, the fact of the matter is, while these excuses seem reasonable, the fact is they were heartbreaking. Because this king had done his very best, had prepared something wonderful, and so the fact of the matter is, it was hard to swallow.
But here's what I love about this king. When he tries to throw this big party and nobody wants to come to his big party, and he's put in all of this work and done all this cooking and all this cleaning and all this preparation, the king takes this heartbreak and he turns it into an opportunity. What he does is he goes to his servant who's helping him set up this feast. And he says to him, Luke 14, verse 21, "Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in new guests, the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." "Sir," the servant said, "what you ordered has been done, but there's still room." Then the master told his servant, "Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel more people to come in, so that my house will be full." And so what the king does is he takes a tragedy and he uses it as an opportunity to make new friends. In fact, my favorite line in this story is in verse 22, where the servant is talking to the master, to the king, and it's after the first round of inviting all of these people. And he says to the king, "Sir, what you ordered has been done, but there's still room. There's still room at the table. There's still room at the banquet. There's still room in this king's feast."
Yeah, I love that idea of taking tragedy, of taking disappointment, of taking hardship and turning it into opportunity. That's what the king does. And I wonder, as you and I are facing a holiday season that probably doesn't look anything like we've imagined in the past. It doesn't have the same parties, the same celebrations, the same gatherings. Lots is different. I wonder if there's still more room for us to turn this into a celebration, to take the hardships and challenges of COVID-19 and 2020 and turn them into something special, turn them into a blessing. So for example, one of the ways that we could make more room in this very difficult season is by giving food to those who have need, like our food drive that happened just yesterday. What a great opportunity to share from what God has given to us, to help meet the enormous needs. We've all seen the lines for food pantries. We've all heard the stories of people who are looking for that kind of help. It's a great way that we can do it. And it doesn't just happen on one day when we do a drive at church. It can happen anytime. Maybe it's a little more personal in that when you're preparing a holiday meal, you make a little extra for somebody else. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people in this last season who prepared Thanksgiving meals, and they put it all together, and then they boxed up portions and they gave it to friends and family that they couldn't be with in person, but they could still share that meal out of the generosity of their heart. That's making more room. Maybe a simple way to do it is by having a Zoom or a FaceTime call with your loved ones for the celebrations that you have. I know that for Thanksgiving, one of the things that we did with my sweet mom is have a Zoom call. So my 3 kids and their spouses and Julie and I were all on a Zoom call, and we talked with my mom probably for about an hour. And I love what happened, because in the midst of that call, now my mom has had a wonderful life with so many wonderful things that happened, but she was so delighted by the experience. She actually said at one point, "This is the best experience of my life." Now, that may have been just a little bit of hyperbole, but it gives you an idea of how much that simple gesture can mean to someone in this crazy season.
So the centerpiece, in a lot of ways, one of the centerpieces of our faith is actually a table. Now, it looks a little bit different than a table like this, but it's one that we see every Sunday in an altar where we celebrate communion. And the idea is there's always room at the table for you, because Jesus makes room at the table for you. That's what grace is. Jesus calls sinners who may not deserve a seat at some big fancy table in heaven or earn a seat at some big fancy table in heaven, but Jesus says, "I want you to come. And I want you to dine with me and be with me because I love you." And so here's the question. If that's what Jesus does for us, how can you do it for others?
Yeah, in this time, we may not have the big Christmas parties in 2020 for Christmas celebrations. We may not have the big family gathering in 2020. Things may be very, very different. But the one thing that COVID-19 and any struggle of this year cannot take away from us is the fact that we have the privilege of gathering with Jesus, because we belong to him and he is always with us.
So here's the deal. Coming up, we are trying to make room actually for you. So we have a couple of things that I want to make sure you're aware of. First off, we have our student Christmas pageant where we take the students of Concordia Day School. And this year it looks a little bit different. It's going to be online only. It's going to be Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. You can stream it on our website. And we have our video team and our worship team and our teachers, our faculty working really hard to get all the kids of the school involved. So you're going to be able to see your son or your daughter if they go to our school, or maybe your grandson or your granddaughter. And they're going to be singing a song or presenting the Christmas story in some way. And so we'd love to have you join us online, 7 p.m. this Wednesday at concordia.cc. And then coming up on Sunday, we have a really cool thing that our worship team is working on. This has actually become, I think it's our second or third year. We call it a Texas Christmas. So if you like some good country-style music and some fabulous Christmas carols and a lot of fun, that's going to be Sunday morning at 9:30 and 11 o'clock. We're going to be streaming it live on our website, and then we'll have a more traditional service at 8 o'clock if you prefer that. But here's the thing. If you're going to come to that in-person service at 9:30 or 11, we'd like to know that you're going to come so we can save you a seat, so we can make sure we have plenty of room for everyone. So please, just take a moment to go and register at concordia.cc.
We hope to see you at one of these wonderful celebrations coming up soon.